Well, folks, I'm sure you opened up your portfolios here today and you noticed that you're probably up thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands of dollars in your portfolio here today, right? Stocks are skyrocketing. Certain stocks are skyrocketing, I should say. And a lot of people are wondering, like, what is going on here? Is this sustainable? Are we about to drop back down? Should we, let's call it take some profits, right? Cash out. Obviously, we're talking about these are huge sums of money now at this point in time, right? Public count up like $48,000. I still remember how excited I was to get a job at Quick Trip in 2010. Starting at $39,000 a year, right? And to make $47,000 off one portfolio in one day is pretty extreme. And if you look at these moves, right, Meta hit 260 today, 260 plus, right? That's a stock you could have bought for $88 9 months ago or so, right? Another 3+% move here today with Meta, almost $17,000 was there, right? Tesla all of a sudden's climbing back very nicely. That one's flirting with going over $200 a share, right? And remember, at the start of this year, it was like what, 101, 102, up almost 5% here today. Corsair's flirting with going back over 20. Amazon, a 4.5% move for Amazing's on here today. Skyworks Solutions even getting in on the fun, 5.8% move. Palantir, another one, a 6% plus move here in regards to Palantir. And so a lot of people are seeing this, right, and wondering what the heck. Is it jump on the bandwagon time? Is it cash? And those sorts of things. So that's what we're talking about here today, folks. I'm going to give you my full in-depth thoughts on this. I appreciate everybody joining me, as always, for positioning in the market moving forward now at this point in time. A stock I would say 80% of you guys probably never heard of, okay? And that's perfectly fine. Unless you're super, super into the market, you probably never heard of this company. Marvell Technologies, okay? This stock has climbed 44% in the past 5 trading days. Now, Marvell just came out. This is not even known as necessarily an AI play. But even they're getting in on the AI fun. They said they're going to do $200 million roughly in AI revenue in this fiscal year, then $400+ million in fiscal year 24, and then $800+ million in fiscal year 25. Okay. Now, when you hear things like that from a company that's not even known as really like an AI play, you should kind of. The bottom line is, okay, this AI stuff is for real. It's here now, and it's not going anywhere, and it's going to get a whole lot bigger. A lot of people have been debating this. There's no debating this anymore. If you are still in the debate mode, you just are not looking at facts and looking at data. When you hear company after company after company that are in the AI space saying interest and demand for their product is an overwhelming point at this point in time, right? You're going to see this reflected in numbers over the next several quarters and several years, right? And when you hear a company like NVIDIA come out and say we're going to do $11 billion in revenue next quarter, you need to take that serious. Now, there's some people debating like, oh, what if they don't do 11 billion? You think they would come out with that crazy of a number unless they were very confident they're going to do that number and probably beat that number, right? Like, you think they're just going to throw a number out there to throw a number out there? Come on now, right? A company like Marvell saying we're going to do these sorts of numbers, you're hearing it from company after company that are in this space, right? This isn't hype. This isn't just there's nothing here, there's nothing of substance, okay? This is real, this is happening now, and this is going to get a lot bigger, okay? And so, you're either positioned for this wave or you're not positioned for this wave, and it's really up to you if you want to position or not, but there's no more debating. There's no more debating. If you're still in the debate mode, you're in the delusion mode. That's a bottom line with that, okay? Now, this is not an everything goes up phase we're in right now, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff that's struggling out there. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin in the past month is down 5+%, right? So there's certain time periods in the financial markets in general where everything seems to be moving up. It's the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Russell, the Dow, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything is just up, right? And it's just like a melt up. We're not in one of those situations right now, okay? This is not a risk on everything. What you need to be able to do to get on an NVIDIA train in the first place, right? And then stay on the train is you've got to understand exactly what's going on with NVIDIA, their product, what makes them special. But you know what else you have to be able to do? You have to be able to run long-term projections on NVIDIA. What is this company doing for revenues 3 years out from now, 5 years out from now, net income? And not just be throwing numbers out there, but be able to have estimated guesses on this is why I believe they're going to be at this number, because I believe they're going to be selling this many chips is going to need to be needed. They're going to be able to get this average selling price because their competitive pressure is not going to be as immense. Like, you have to be able to run into this full thesis. It's a very difficult thing to do. okay? I can tell you there's probably, in my opinion, there's less than 100,000 people on this planet that can do that, in my personal opinion, okay? I'm one of them. But there's less than 100,000. Actually, probably less than 10,000. And it's very difficult. It's a challenge. And sometimes you're still going to get it wrong. Even if you know how to do that, you still are going to get it wrong sometimes. And that's one of the tough things about this game is even when you know how to do that and you know how to put a full case together and then you know how to put all the numbers together, like sometimes you're still going to be wrong on that, right? And so that's the other feeling people have to fight when it comes to something like NVIDIA, is that feeling of like, well, maybe I'm wrong, because everybody is wrong from time to time. And so you could have NVIDIA doing, let's say, $100 billion in revenue 3 years from now. But then there's that feeling, and let's say you have them doing, $40 billion of net income. Let's say that's your number, right? Then the feeling of like, am I right about this? Or am I way over fabricating this? And they're not going to be able to hit that number. That feeling runs through you. And sometimes you feel like, man, you know what? I don't really know. I'm starting to feel unsure of myself. Let me just take a profit. Main point I want to make, okay, is kind of what do I see happening with NVIDIA stock in the shorter term, meaning the next couple months. I could definitely see NVIDIA kind of chilling out in kind of the 350 to 450 range for the next couple months. A lot of people really want to see NVIDIA come in with that number, that $11 billion number, right? And then they want to see the guidance for the next quarter. So it's kind of gotten that respect of what they guided for, but now people are kind of, it feels to me like people are kind of waiting now and they really want to see like what happens with these next numbers. And so that's why I could see NVIDIA kind of chilling 350 to 450. If they come in with those numbers, and let's say they have disappointing guidance, then you'll see the stock obviously fall dramatically. If they come in and they come in with another $11 billion number, or even a greater than $11 billion guidance number for next quarter, that changes the game. Everybody that thinks like, oh, this is just a one-quarter thing, or NVIDIA is making up lies, and they're not going to point, because I've heard bears say this, that have been bearish on NVIDIA for months and months now, say, oh, they're just making this up, and it's just a lie, and, it's just like, okay, that's interesting standpoint, that you just think they're going to, make up a lie, and they're really going to do $8 billion, and when they said they're going to do $11 billion for this upcoming quarter. But nonetheless, folks, I think next quarter is going to be what drives the stock either to 500 plus or back under 350. This is likely an early days situation, right? And when you have a new big major shift in some sort of GPU, some sort of chipset, it can't even be in something in smartphone related, in any of that space. It's usually a multi-year move. And you can look back at companies like I own personally. Look back at Cirrus Logic over time. Ticker symbol CRUS on that one, CRUS. Look at a company like I own Skyworks Solutions, SWKS, right? And you look at those companies and look at how their revenues went up year after year after year, starting in the smartphone revolution, and how those revenues just skyrocket over that next decade, right? And so when it comes to something like NVIDIA, I think something that's very important that you have to consider is that this is literally the first inning of this game. They just entered this game, and this is a long game to be played out here where their revenues could skyrocket year after year after year for 3, 5, 7, 10 years. And something you have to consider out there. I think next quarter in their guidance is going to be very telling to like, this is for real, or people saying, no, it was just a little too much excitement in one quarter. And that's what everybody's trying to figure out right now, right? But you have to consider that this game is very early, and that NVIDIA has a real opportunity to be a multi-trillion-dollar market cap and put up the sort of net income numbers that will be shocking, that people are, can't even fathom and believe when they see them.